We're live. We are live already, and we have got a fascinating show coming up. Coming up for you today. I've got this weird kind of cough at the moment, so there might be a bit of coughing. But an absolutely fantastic show coming up for you today. We are talking to a cancer counsellor, Claire Francis. She's been on before, but I want to do a real deep dive into it because, as Russ says, his words, he does the shallow, he doesn't really, and I do the deep dive. Deep dive. So we're going deep dive into it and learning about what Claire does, which is a fantastic thing that she does do. So we're going to be talking about it because unfortunately cancer affects a lot of us. So that is definitely worth talking about. I know I've certainly lost someone to cancer, which was not fun. Any comments, any hellos? I'm just literally waiting for our guest to join us, but she will be soon, and we'll bring her straight on because I want to get a good hour, good conversation in. I've got a couple of bits to tell you as well, by the way. I've got a YouTube channel, which I'll advertise later when we've got a few more logged in. It's all my comedy or me and my comedy partner, Matt's rude stuff, including rude songs, which I do on my comedy set, and scam baiting as well, where I give scammers a taste of their own medicine, engineer a little karma, because karma is a bitch. But a fun one when I'm the one engineering it. I'm going to invite you to a party as well online by the end of the show today as well, because I broadcast virtual parties. I've got a team of very good DJs, and we're going to be broadcasting live tonight. So totally different to this. But we like to do everything. A good selection of things keeps life interesting, doesn't it? So Barry J. Allen, good afternoon, Neil. Hello, Barry J. Allen. Good to have you along, man. And we're just waiting for Claire to click the link. And as soon as she does, she will log in. And we'll do a deep dive into this. I might just send her a text now. There we go. Are you coming? Are you in? There we go. Where have I heard that before? Anyway, so it is the midday show. A very warm welcome to you. Any other comments? We've got Barry. Anyone? Any heckles? Anyone want to shout some abuse at me? We'll have a little banter. I did an online comedy gig the other day. Actually, it's great fun. You know, when have you seen those videos? It's basically they put words to it, and it's two dogs. You know, dogs bark at each other over the fence or bark back at each other over the fence in the distance. And they put words to it like "piss off," "you piss off," and all that. It's kind of like that, but with human beings, but using Zoom to barrack each other across town. So I'll be barracking Sutton, which is down the road from me, and Sutton would be barracking Hounslow. It's great fun. Call me weird, but I really enjoy that kind of stuff. Okay, so here we go. And Claire's here. Good. Let's bring her on. Caught you drinking your coffee. Caught you.
It's all about love.
All about the coffee. Hello, Claire Francis. How are you?
Good morning. Afternoon, isn't it? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you, Longie?
I am very good. It's really good to have you on the show. And I'm just going to put your banner across the top, across the bottom. There we go. And I do all my own operating here, so it can be a little bit slow, but I'm just pressing buttons frantically. And there we are. Claire Francis, counsellingwithcancer.co.uk. Welcome to the show, Claire.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you as always.
Well, it's lovely to see you too. And I know you were on the show before, but we didn't really get a chance to do a super deep dive into it. So I want to talk about all kinds of stuff today. But basically, just introduce yourself and tell us about what you do for a living. 'Cause it is, I guess, quite an unusual job in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's so I work in mental health, and I'm a therapist, and I qualified I think 7 years ago now, and since then I've kind of been building my business up slowly, and I work in cancer. When I first trained, I went to volunteer for Macmillan. And I was there, I think, for 5 years or 5 years and a bit. And that's where the Counselling with Cancer name kind of came from. So Google knows me now as Counselling with Cancer. But I work in lots of different areas now of mental health. So I work for a lot of the private health companies now, and I've got my own private practice. So and as long as my CPD covers it and I'm trained in that area, then I can kind of generally work in most areas.
What's CPD?
Continuous professional development.
Oh, get you.
So we have to do that as therapists. I'm an accredited therapist with one of the frameworks, and so we have to continue with our development. So constantly learning and constantly
Well, I would
training.
imagine so, because I mean, it's the same with many things, isn't it? Because the field, of course, is always evolving, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and what's true today, in the best way, uh, may not be true tomorrow, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and also there's, there's certain subjects, there's certain things that kind of happen in people's lives, and apart from you've got your relationship issues that could bring lots of different subjects within that relationship. There's bereavement. I work a lot in bereavement and the various different stages of grief. I work obviously in cancer, so I keep myself
Well,
up and coming on that.
it's a big subject, isn't it? Because
It's a
first
big
of all, you've got to keep
subject.
up to date with all the advances in cancer, which I imagine, like I say, are changing every day and evolving, which is
Yeah,
great. But quite the challenge for you to keep up, I would have thought. But then, of course, the ripples. I put this on Facebook. The ripples are sent out because there's the people that are caring. There's the people that may lose people, and you
yeah,
might be counselling them. It's not just the sufferer; it's the people in their periphery as well, isn't it? So lots of, I mean, just the one subject of grief is probably big enough to keep you busy for a lifetime, let alone the rest.
yeah, yeah. And the ripple effect, Neil, I think affects everybody. I think when somebody comes into therapy, the changes that happen in that person has an effect on the families, and hopefully
Yeah.
a good effect on the families.
You
And
mean the
but that
sufferer when they come into family,
Well,
or the get
just,
well, either?
that if they're getting better and they're starting to feel better, then the environment around them is going to feel much better. So
Mm,
that then has the ripple effect on the family and the friends. They might have been isolating, so they want to go out
yeah.
more. I think a ripple effect is whatever's going on for that person. If a friend
Mm.
or family is worried about somebody, then it has a ripple effect on
Of course it
everybody.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's really understandable, and I suppose trying to
Mm.
keep people's spirits buoyed, keep the faith no matter what, is not an easy thing, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if someone comes to you with cancer and you
Yes.
counsel them, what do you do? I remember you had a wheel of emotion last time, and
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, do you still use that? Because that seemed like a really useful tool. Tell me more
It's
about that.
such a powerful tool, and I use it a
Tell
lot
us
in
this. Let's
therapy.
start with this. It's called
Because
wheel of emotion,
sometimes,
right?
yeah,
Go on.
yeah, it's the feelings wheel.
Right.
So basically, I use it a lot in therapy for people. Sometimes you say to somebody, so how do you feel? Wonder how you feel about that, or I wonder what's happening for you at the moment. And sometimes you can't put a word to the way that you're feeling. So
Mm,
you show them the feelings wheel, and if you can just find one word, that opens up a whole new sense for them, and then you start to explore that word. So I've got one here. I've always got one by my
I mean,
desk, and I've got
yeah,
them online.
always got one handy. My handy feelings
Always
will.
got Yes, here it is.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, because I guess in a way, and I want to hear all about this. We don't.
Mm,
So many of us, we kind of live from the neck up. A lot of us, don't we?
mm.
We're kind of like heads and mental processes on sticks, but a lot
Yeah,
of us
100,
aren't
yeah,
embodied, are
yeah.
we? So, would how many people, I would ask, would have even the vocabulary to begin to explore their feelings? Maybe this is the step to what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody might say that I'm feeling anxious, or, I just feel anxious, I feel jittery. So you might say to them, so I'm just wondering what anxious feels like to you, because for you, anxious might be, I've got a sore tummy. Somebody else that's anxious might be, I feel a bit shaky. So everybody feels different in their anxieties. But then once they say that, anxiety is generally fear. So then you kind of look on the feelings wheel where it says fear, and you have a look at what is it that you're. So in that feelings wheel, in the fear, you've got helpless, frightened, overwhelmed, worried, inadequate. And a lot of the time they might feel overwhelmed. So what is it that they're feeling overwhelmed about?
Mm,
We've got this, and this going on. Okay, so
mm,
let's have a look at that. So it just opens the therapy up for them, and it opens it up for you as a therapist to have something to explore when they don't know
mm.
quite what they're exploring themselves. That's what
And
you're
when you
there
do
for.
explore the feelings, to what end? Is it to validate them? Is it for catharsis? Is it to maybe even challenge
To
the feelings?
help understand. It's exploratory. So the work that I do is exploratory.
Right.
And so it's kind of like set so they can navigate their way through their feelings so they understand how they feel. It's not for
Mm,
me to validate, it's for them to validate themselves.
understood. Understood. Quick hi to Robert Van Buren
Hi,
and hi to
Rob. Hi,
and,
Liz.
and, and Liz as well. All the old reprobates are showing up. Because we made friends over lockdown, didn't we? And you
We did.
came to my
Mm,
lockdown parties, which were
famous
online,
lockdown
by the way.
party.
If there's
Yeah.
any police watching, they were completely legal, and online. And we
And
just started
fun.
talking about this stuff then, and you were very into it. I mean, it's evolved quite a lot since then. Because I mean,
Mm,
lockdown was 4 years ago. How did that happen?
I know. I know.
How on earth did that happen? But anyway,
I
yeah,
know.
lockdown was 4 years ago. So obviously, there's a lot. You've done a lot more since then. What fields are you working in at the moment? Because you're in all kinds of places, aren't you?
Yeah, I work for various different private health companies and
Mm,
different agencies,
yeah.
and I basically I can work in all kinds of things. So there, as I said earlier, it's kind of like relationships. There's bereavement. There could be fertility. Obviously, there's cancer. It's endless. When people ask me, what do you work in? It's kind of like there's so much that it's kind of like it's endless, really, that you're working in.
So you have to kind of really be in the moment and bespoke. So when someone
Yeah,
presents to you, which could be anything, I suppose from your point of view, it's finding that starting point and opening up the conversation.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, please forgive the idiot. We've got a comedian on the timeline. Is there a James Brown section on the feelings wheel which says "I feel good"? I can only apologise for Graham Pack. I can only apologise
Well,
for him.
there is a happy. I call them cheeses. So, because the way it's the way it's sectioned or fragmented or whatever you want to look at it, and there is a happy section on there on the feelings wheel. So maybe if you have a look in the happy, you can see that you're feeling joyful.
Hmm. Now, an interesting thing, which I want to run by, and I just want your honest thoughts on this. I
Yeah,
read an awful lot of psychology,
yeah.
some metaphysics, energy, healing, all that sort of stuff. We talk about it on the show quite a lot. And I'm not saying that I or anyone can cure cancer. Okay. I'm not saying that. However, there is an awful lot of science behind certain mental processes, certain energetic things,
Mm,
which put our body in a receptive state to healing. So healing can be a lot faster. And they've proven this. Take cancer out of the equation. Someone just might have had an operation and they've done tests where people have, for example, had hypnotherapy and then they compared it to a control group that didn't. And every time the people that have done these treatments heal faster.
hmm.
And there is science behind that now. And I know it's too much to say you can cure cancer, but anything that could help. And my theory is that all healing operates in the parasympathetic nervous system. And for those
Mm,
that don't know what I'm talking about, I know you do, Claire, but we have two sides to our nervous system. We've got the sympathetic, which is kind of the action, fight or flight. And we need that for certain short bursts. Okay. If you think from an evolutionary psychology point of view, we're hunter gathering and suddenly you get charged by a saber toothed tiger, you need to fight or flight. And that sympathetic
yeah,
system is bloody fast. But, and this is what human beings don't do that animals do. You see an animal get chased, like the lion chases the gazelle. Once it's over, assuming the gazelle survives, they'll do this kind of vigorous shaking. And what they're doing, they're getting back to their parasympathetic nervous system. They're literally, if I can quote Taylor Swift, shaking it off and getting those stress chemicals out of their bodies, which resets it to parasympathetic. And then notice 5 minutes later, the gazelle's forgotten about it. Human beings don't. We go to therapists.
mm.
So all healing, what I'm saying is done in the parasympathetic nervous system. So is my contention. What do you the rest and digest, the replenishing, the opposite of the sympathetic. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, I
Or am I
think that
talking nonsense?
yeah, I think no, I don't think so too. I think we're each to our own, and we all have we all have our own beliefs. And I'm a great believer in other therapies, and the sound healing, the forest baths, the
Mm.
different various different things. You know,
But both of those are very connected to the parasympathetic. Being
yeah,
at one with the forest or being at one with a sound bath Again,
Yeah.
that's all resting. It's all parasympathetic. There's no
Yeah.
sympathetic nervous system in that at all. It's all
Yeah.
parasympathetic.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I don't know. I mean, I think that look, there's certain fruits that you can eat, isn't there? There's certain foods that you can eat. There's certain things that, I do have a client that is going through natural remedies and doesn't want chemicals. And
mm.
why shouldn't it work if that, I think that the brain is a very, very powerful. I think, we only use a certain amount of our brain, don't we? And it's so, so powerful. And if you believe in something, then, and you believe that that's the way that you want to go non-chemically, then why not? And
I mean, you
it's been
hear,
proven that people do
yeah. I mean,
recover.
we had a guest on this show a while
luck.
ago. He's coming on again fairly soon. Sorry, I'll let you
Yeah.
finish. You were saying.
No, it's fine. I think, with these, some things in life, I think it's luck, isn't it? It's kind of, you know, who, you know, cancer comes from a cell, from a cell that kind of wanders off, and they don't really know why that happens. So I don't know if, you know how the cures work or how the medicines work. I think if your body responds, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean, I guess we're human and we want to understand everything, particularly when
Yeah.
the stakes are big. But I don't need to understand how my engine works to be able to
Mm,
drive my car,
mm. Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all I have to do is look after the car and put the right fuels in and take care of the engine, and it'll run fine. So
Yeah.
we can apply the same metaphor to our bodies. And if eating the right foods, at the very least, eating natural foods, so our body isn't weighted down with digesting things that weren't really meant for our diet, then
Mm.
obviously it won't waste its time and energy on that when it could be devoted to healing. That's one thing. But I've heard it gone further. I've heard that people have healed themselves with diet or something else
Yeah. Yeah.
alone. And I've been cynical about it, I must admit, but equally, I can see why they would do it. And I'm not sure what I would do, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people do want to know what's going on,
Mm,
more with their bodies, and what's happening, and there's other people that don't. They're just like, I just want to get well, and that's it,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's so individual. It really, really is.
But the figures are getting better, aren't they?
Figures are getting better, yeah, and there are more medicines coming out, and so we've just got to, I guess it's that science, isn't it, that we just have to, we rely on science.
Well, we do. I mean, immunotherapy is another one, isn't it? Which is
Yeah,
basically
that's new.
rather than blitzing it with, because there was a series a while ago. It was a guy called Ty Bollinger, and tragically, he lost his whole family to cancer. And he kind of turned it into his life's work, and he did this big docu-series. You can still buy it online, called The Truth About Cancer.
Mm,
Lovely, ordinary American guy, and he went around the world looking for these so-called, we would have called them alternative cures at the time, but he studied all kinds of things: food, cannabis as well.
yeah,
I don't mean necessarily getting high, although that could help with pain relief. I'm not making any judgment about that.
yeah, yeah,
But I mean, for example, with cannabis, there's 142 molecules in cannabis. Only one is THC, that's the one that gets you high. Another one is CBD, which you can buy in shops now legally.
mm,
But there's others. So they were giving cannabis to people for one thing and finding other things would clear up. And so I think a lot more research is needed. And what else was it? Nutrition, cannabis. Oh, it was all sorts. I'd have to look up the series again, but it opened my mind that there's an awful lot more than
mm,
the standard three, which we've had for years, which, to put rather grossly, is cut it, burn it, or poison it.
yeah,
Yeah, which sounds pretty grim, doesn't it? But that's basically been our model for
yeah,
goodness knows how long.
yeah. Wow. Yeah, I suppose, I guess when you think of it like that, it's, I wasn't expecting you to say that, but I guess when you look at it like
Sorry.
that, then yeah, then that's I guess that's how they do it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not saying it doesn't work some of the time, but I'm really interested in developments because we're always evolving and always doing it better and better, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah,
We've got a comment here. Any questions for Claire, by the way? Put them in comments. I'm sure. You okay to take questions, Claire?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Brilliant. I thought you were, but I wanted to check. Now, the word disease was so scary when I was a child. Cancer is a disease, so you're automatically scared. K. Is that you, Kimmy? Anyway, not that it matters. I think it's Kimmy. But here's an interesting one. I'll put it on the screen. This comes back to parasympathetic. I want to ask you an awful lot more, Claire, but these thoughts keep popping in my mind, so I'm just going to pop it on the screen quickly. I think it was Kimmy, but whoever that was popping this on the screen. This is something in the world of mind-body, dis-ease. Okay. You've come across this, obviously, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone studied Louise Hay or anyone like that? She was the kind of pioneer. Do you remember that book by Louise Hay? You Can Heal Your Life. And she healed herself of vaginal cancer. And she did. And I don't think she had surgery, did she? I think it was all
I
done.
don't know. Yeah.
I don't believe so. She's passed on now, Louise Hay, but she did this whole body of work on mind-body healing. And the field that is from is called PNI, which is psychoneuroimmunology. And what that means in English is basically the link between the mind and the body. And if you're in dis-ease, you're experiencing a lack of ease.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you struggle against things, I thought this was quite clever as well. If you struggle against things, one of my favorite teachers said this, so I'm typing at the same time. If you struggle with things, then you tend to dis-ease. So it's either, you can either have ease or struggle, and it's like allowing the solution or fighting for the solution. But again, ease is parasympathetic, and there's no fighting in parasympathetic. There's no struggle in parasympathetic. It's just what it is. It is rest and digest. It's the opposite of that. So I've been reading about quite a lot of this recently, so it's interesting that
well, dis-ease is what it says, isn't it? That you're feeling uneasy, aren't you? You're uneased. So
but that's very easy for me to say when I'm not being counselled for cancer. You try calming someone down because they're going to be in sympathetic, they're going to be frightened, and it's understandable. It's very understandable. But I suppose that's the skill of your job, calming them and showing them.
Well, you allow them to be, and you listen. I think it's important for people to be heard. One of the most important things is people to be heard, and to hear what someone's got to say, and understand them, so that they feel that they're being held, and that they've got someone to listen to them.
That is profoundly true, and that I think that's the mark of a great therapist. Because when I was in therapy, and it wasn't for physical disease, it was just my mental health was a bit off about 4 years ago.
But that's still dis-ease. That's still dis-ease.
It very much was dis-ease, because I did not feel at ease. I did not feel at ease at all. And what causes dis-ease in mental health is you feel so isolated. And it's the same with cancer as well. You think you're the only one. You look at Facebook, everyone's having a great time, it would seem, apart from you, which is false, by the way, but that's how it's kind of sold to us. And it is hard to feel at ease in a situation like that. But my therapist, she had a 3-way thing. It was hold them, walk with them, release them. So when I was in an absolute mess, it was what you said, hold them. And I just needed to download and have someone listen to me. Then she would teach me techniques and walk me through them so I could do them by myself, and then she released me. And I thought that Rosie Whetstone, always shout her out on this show. She's an amazing woman and really helped me about 4 years ago. So shout out Rosie Whetstone. But but it's that, I love the way you say hold them. So it really is just that, it's that first stage, isn't it? That, okay, come on, let's have a hug. Let's tell me your feelings. I'm here, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's just holding that space. It's creating a safe space for somebody to be able to talk to you. Because the thing is that, a lot of the time they can't speak to their families. Well, in any situation. So, obviously I work in lots of areas. So in any situation, they come to me because they can't, or they don't want to speak to their families. Their families are always saying, come on, be positive, and we're going to fight this, whatever. They might not want to be positive. They might want to say how they feel. They might want to show their fear, but they can't show it at home. So they come to me and they can show it. They can show that vulnerability. So it's for
And
me
that
to
must be such a
create.
relief for them. Such, I mean, the
Yeah,
families mean well, but
yeah.
sometimes, hey,
And
come on,
friends.
stiff up a little,
Yeah, and
that's
friends.
just,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Come on, we're going to do this walk. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And they don't
Mm,
want to. They just want to. They've just had chemo. They just want to sit down, Or
yeah.
in therapy, they come out of therapy, and I will say to them, how have you been feeling this week? And they say, I've been really tired. And in my therapy, I do a lot of self-care, a lot of self-care,
Yes. In
because
fact,
it's
we talk
so
about,
so
we
important.
do about 15 minutes on
Yeah,
self-care practices. So I
yeah,
think we could all do
yeah,
this. We chat for a little bit longer about this. Then we
yeah,
talk, if we may, we
yeah.
talk about self-care. But feel free to bring anything you want to the forum as well, Claire. By the way, I'm not.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah,
our
yeah.
forum. I'm not leading this as such.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just,
Mm,
it's great how it's going. So,
yeah.
it's just creating that space
Mm,
for somebody, and in that space they're kind of held.
mm. And that's what I had with Rosie, and it felt so good because I could tell her
Mm,
anything,
yeah,
literally, and did.
yeah,
And at first, it just felt good to be validated, I suppose,
yeah,
that I'm not the only one that feels this way. And of
yeah,
course, you're not. Of course, you're
yeah,
not. But with any mental thing or physical thing, it
mm,
feels so bloody isolating. You feel
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
the only one,
yeah,
and nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing.
mm,
A couple of comments, and there's a question for you. Facebook user Paul Russ has been so affected by cancer in people
mm,
around him, and he has. He's read a book. I think it's either called Bark at the Moon or Howl at the Moon. It's something at the moon. I'll look it up in a moment, but
mm,
you'll find it with a Google. And I've read the book,
mm,
and Russ is an incredible writer, and he doesn't pull any punches. And yeah, he has
mm,
been affected deeply by cancer.
mm,
It's important
mm.
for those around cancer to get advice and counselling. I agree. Question from our resident comedian, but he's being serious for a change. Do you counsel people that have had treatment and are cancer-free but fear it might come back? Good question.
Yes.
Blimey, Graham. That's the best question you've ever asked on this show, sir. What's wrong with you this morning? You're slipping.
Yes, I do. I treat, the treatments that I go through, is it, somebody could have just been diagnosed. I've taken ladies through mastectomies, which has been over a year long therapy. I've had clients that I took through Macmillan years ago, and they've come back to me now recently over the years. So yes, I do have clients that are returning, and I also see them through. Sometimes you find that you take them through that year, because in that first year they have their anniversaries coming up of when the cancer was diagnosed. Then they have the anniversaries of the operations or treatments, or there's lots of different things that come
Yeah.
in with this. So yeah, I do. Yeah,
Well, it's and I can understand why you would do, because the fear of it coming back,
yeah,
that can be a spectre as well, even though it may not be real.
yeah,
In
yeah,
some cases, there's probably nothing to fear apart from the fear itself. But
yeah.
again, it's finding that way in, just to say, no, hang on, don't panic, keep the faith,
Yeah,
focused. Yeah,
yeah. And also, I think that sometimes, the consultants might say to them, well, you're 99.9%, but there's always that percent. And they'll hold on to that percent and not the 99.9%.
well, because we have a negativity bias as human
Yeah,
beings. Again, this
yeah.
comes from our evolution, where we had to watch out for threats all the time.
Mm,
But spending 99% of your life in the sympathetic nervous system in today's world is not healthy. It
mm,
needs to be the other way round. We need to spend 99% in parasympathetic
mm.
and 1% for the short, sharp times where we need that burst of adrenaline.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know, a car cuts you up, someone jumps out at you.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it's for. It's not to be lived in 24/7, and it's burning us out and it's killing us, put bluntly.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is Dr. Asa Don Brown, who is very senior in the American and Canadian psychiatric world. And I,
Hello.
I love I love having him on the show because he always provides some brilliant, intelligent feedback. And this is Dr. Asa. Meet Claire. Claire, meet Dr. Asa.
Hello.
As a person who's struggled with major medical issues throughout my life, and I've had 3 NDEs. Now, they're interesting. I'll talk about those in a minute. I've learned my own mental health has a major impact on my health and the way I've learned to manage it, which comes back to self-care, doesn't it? Because mind and body are connected. No question. Aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just writing that down. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mind and body. Yeah, absolutely. mental, physical, and emotional. It's all connected. Yeah, absolutely, definitely, and lots of self-care. Was the doctor asking a question there? Was he commenting?
No, he
Was
was more
commenting.
commenting.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
talking about. I'm going to go off at a tangent just for a minute. Then can we talk about self care? Is that all right?
yeah, yeah.
Have you read the book by Anita Morjani, "Dying to Be Me"?
No, I
Right,
haven't.
because she had cancer, and it was tumors the size of lemons,
Yeah,
right? And she was basically dying. All the organs were shutting down. Now, at the risk of getting cancelled by saying something really off the charts, but you can read the book for yourself. She died, um, and then came back and wrote the book. And she crossed to the other side. Everything was kind of big and expansive, and how can I put this? It crossed to the spiritual side, which is nothing like the religions teach us, by the way. It's not like a judge saying you're good enough and you're not. It was nothing like that. It's just this embrace into unconditional love, shall we say. And she kind of brought it back with her. So when she came back, her body started healing. And I think within 3 weeks or 3 months or whatever, it was gone, the cancer.
wow.
And she's been cancer-free ever since. It's the most unbelievable book. It's called Dying. I'll put it on the screen. Dying to Be Me, and
Yeah,
Anita Morjani. And I read that,
written it
and
down.
when I read that, if you read stuff like that, it's very hard to fear death anymore. And the reason why she got cancer, she says, is because, and this is interesting, mind body stuff again. She was a very kind of good girl, following all the rules, do all things that society says she should do. And she's Asian culture as well, so the rules are quite, no offense to anyone, but the rules are quite strict there. And in doing that, it kind of crushed her, and she got ill. It was her body and mind's way of screaming, no, this is not for me. I need freedom. I need to be the free being I was born to be. And as she come back, now her life's work is revolving around freedom and giving that to other people, with the backdrop of, there's no such thing as death, so don't be frightened.
Yeah.
It's an amazing book. If you're metaphysically minded, I would really recommend that. But yeah, she's all about self-care. But sometimes self-care is a good way of leading into it, segueing into it. Means saying no to what society expects of you, maybe.
Yeah.
Talk to me about self-care.
Self-care. So self-care, well, self-care, I always say to my clients that, if they're tired, kind of like, take self-care is all about time for me, isn't it? And so it's the things that you like doing, or the things that you want to do to take yourself out of whatever's kind of happening. So it might be go for a walk, or it might be going to see your friends, or it might be have a nanny nap, as I call them.
Yeah, well, for me, it's drinking too much and watching Pornhub. But no, that was a joke. Sorry.
Wrong show, Neil. And
Oh
wrong
yeah,
show.
that's the comedy show later.
That's
Sorry.
the comedy show later. And yeah, so it's it's all those things. I do a lot of inner child work. So with the inner child, it's we find something that the inner child likes doing, whether it be jigsaw puzzle, making a cake, or having a certain toy. There's so many things that you can do with regards to self-care. Might be relaxation in the evenings, you do a jigsaw puzzle or make cards, or just some different things. It's something that you would do out of the ordinary, is what I
What if you put
kind of
yourself in
say.
environments that, say, you were hanging around with some people that were toxic? That's self-care as well.
Yeah.
Setting your boundaries, I think, is what I want to say.
Boundaries. Yeah,
Because
boundaries is yeah.
Anita Morjani didn't have any. She was her boundaries were violated by what society expected of her all the time, and the consequence was she got ill, and now she's well, and she is disobeying. And I used to put that in parentheses. She's not like become a criminal. That's ridiculous, but she's not following the dictates of traditional society.
Yeah, and none of us have to follow the traditional society. It's we're people as one, aren't we? We're ordinary people, and what I might like doing, you might not like doing. And but that's okay. And and that's the thing, isn't it? It's about not being codependent on society and people
Mm.
pleasing on society, where, oh, that's what they expect me to do, so that's what I'm going to do. And
Yeah,
it's
heads up, you
about,
can spend your whole life trying to please society, and society will never thank you for it. There's no
no,
reward. There's no
absolutely
pot of
not.
gold at the end of that particular rainbow. Trust me, folks.
No, no, there's not any. And so it's about learning what you like doing and what it is that you want to do. And, if you want to go dancing and, but your group of friends don't, they might think, oh, what you going dancing for, or whatever. Your codependency will not do it because your group of friends are not doing it. Your independency will take you to do it.
What do you do for self-care? What do you enjoy doing, if I may?
Oh, I do lots of things. I do lots of things. I do lots of different things. I go for some sound healing, or I did an art class a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago. Just saw it advertised on Facebook locally, and I thought I'm going to give that a go. And it was in the midweek, and it was something out of the ordinary that I did, and I absolutely loved it, and it
And
made
did you find a
such a
talent that you didn't
difference.
think you had? Did you think you never really considered yourself to be an artist before, and suddenly you found this
Well,
talent?
I won't be the female Banksy, that's for sure.
But it doesn't matter though. It's the
It
feeling you
doesn't
get.
matter. It's about
No.
doing it, isn't it? It made such a
If you
difference
want to
to
be
my
Banksy,
week.
you just need a spray can and then go and graffiti your bridge, and then people
Yeah,
go, "Wow, that's beautiful. Look at that.
y
That's
yeah, but
iconic
there's
street
meaning
art."
behind it, isn't it?
Oh,
There's a
very
deep
much so.
meaning
Yeah.
behind it, but I did, but, I did. I was really pleased with what my with how my painting turned out, and it, and it just encourages me to do something like that even more, because it was something out of the ordinary, something that I don't normally do, and it made such a big difference to my week.
And it would do, and that fits in with what we understand biochemically, what goes in the brain. You had a shot of dopamine, a healthy shot
Yeah,
of dopamine, because it
yeah,
was novelty and it was something different. You were doing it without a particular outcome. You weren't trying to be the next Banksy. You did it basically for
yeah,
fun and
yeah,
for something to do. And because it was novel, you got a shot of dopamine. So of course it's going to feel good. And
yeah,
that's how it's supposed to work. That's
yeah,
how dopamine's supposed to work. That's what the dopaminergic, I think, system is for.
yeah,
Um, bursts of novelty. Humans, we need stability and novelty. One
yeah,
moves us on, one makes us content and safe where we are, and they're both needed, and there's nothing wrong with
yeah,
either. But
yeah,
one by itself is not. You want both.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I
I
love that.
came,
But
yeah,
also, it's exciting that you discovered more of your inner potential. Because if you could do art and get a real good feeling out of that, what other talents are inside you? Not just you, anyone. What else
yeah,
is inside all of
yeah,
us that
yeah.
we've never even thought about? And if we gave ourselves a shot at it,
But
what's the
you know
worst
what,
that can
Neil?
happen?
Like people's. I'm very lucky and I'm very loved, and I'm very very lucky with my friends. They're always
Good.
buying me gifts. I'm very very lucky, and I've got all these kind of they. I get lots of candles and things bought for me, and flowers and stuff, and these candles. It's like, what do you do when a candle is finished? What do you do with the glass? You generally probably just chuck it away. And I thought, this is such a waste. And so I went on to, I can't remember, it might have been YouTube or something, and I, looked how to clean the glass out. So I cleaned the glass out with hot water, etc., etc. And I just went on to Amazon and I bought some wax melts and some aromas to put in it. And I followed a YouTube thing on how to do it, and I'm making candles now, and I'm giving them out as presents to people, and everyone, they love them because
That's
it's
fine.
something. Where's yours? I'll make you one, don't worry.
Thank you.
And so no, I will. And I'm just making, so I'm just reusing, I'm just recycling and making these candles, but giving them out as gifts. It's so nice.
Mm.
It's just,
And
so
it's
just things like that, self-care again, because it's something that I haven't got my head in a book or a computer.
and it embraces others as well, and that's the best kind of self-care.
Mm,
And I talk a lot about this on a coaching call I go to, is giving from a place of overflow.
mm,
Most people give from a place of lack, nose against the grindstone. I've got to do this. I've got to be the perfect mum. I've got to
mm,
be the perfect this. I've got to be the perfect that. Look how far that got Anita Morjani, right?
mm,
But
mm,
but you're doing it from a place of something that you want to do. And let's
mm,
be really clear: self-care is not selfishness.
mm,
Self-care is not narcissistic selfishness.
mm,
One is one thing. Self-care is the complete opposite, and it's
mm,
imperative. Because with
mm,
your self-care, it gives you a sense of abundance as well, because you've now got something to give. You're giving from overflow, but
mm,
you're not giving at your expense.
mm. Yeah.
That's key. And this ties in with this comment. Why should people feel so bad about giving themselves a moment? Says Kimmy.
They shouldn't. You shouldn't. And
There's no good reason. There's no good reason. It's imperative, Kimmy. It's imperative.
yeah, it's really important to have that, even if it's to sit down and instead of having a cup of tea while you're hanging the washing out, or I don't know, doing whatever. It's almost important to have that cup of tea and sit down and enjoy that cup of tea. It's
Indeed.
it's something like that could even change your 15 minutes in that day. Even it's like going outside. I work from home, so for me it's about, I try and get out as much as possible. So when you invited me over, you and Liz invited me for dinner, I came over for dinner. It gets me out, plus I get a dinner, and which is amazing when you get
I hope our
somebody to
cooking
cook
was
a dinner.
satisfactory.
It was satisfactory, thank you, Neil. And and great company, of course. And so things like that as well. It's really important for me. Part of my self-care is to get out of the house.
Quite
So
right.
I'm training for the Marsden March. I give myself a little plug here if anybody wants to sponsor me. We're nearly up to, I've reached my target, but we are going to be, we've got a group target. There's 5 of us.
Where can people
So
sponsor you? I'll put it on the screen for the rest of the show.
so you can go on to my Instagram page, which is _Claire_Francis_therapy. It's on there. Yeah, so we're doing that. So we go from, I think it's Chelsea Marsden, is it, to Sutton Marsden on
That's
the
right.
12th of May. And so there's a group of us that kind of, we've just kind of pulled, somebody said they were doing it. And then I said, oh, can I join in? And then somebody else said, oh, can I join in? So there's 5 of us. So we meet up, I'd probably say about once a month, and do a really big walk together. But in between, we're walking in between, ourselves. And so I'm up to nearly 10 miles I can do now.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a 15-mile walk. So I just feel that, so that's also self-care. And even if you can get out for 10 minutes and you go 10 minutes up the road and 10 minutes back, you're still outside.
Because I don't think we were meant to live these solitary lifestyles. I mean, I read a book once, and the guy said, "Get out and get lit." He's American, which means get out in the sun for 10 minutes a day, which is natural vitamin D levels. And I was out all day the other day, and I just felt so vibrant. And I need particular
Yeah.
exercise, but I just felt so vibrant when I come back in. Nature is nurturing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, doing what you want to do is
Mm.
nurturing. Giving from a
Yeah,
place of overflow is
yeah,
nurturing.
yeah.
But working it hard against the grindstone, doing what other people think you should do, and giving from a place of because you should do, because you feel guilty, or even worse, people are being toxic and trying to force you to do things. We've talked about that a lot on this show. That's not particularly relevant here, but that's not healthy, obviously.
Mm.
That's
Well,
a
I don't know.
fascinating.
Is it relevant? Like I always try, give from a place of love.
Yeah,
And it's almost like, if you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. It's kind of, try and if you go against the grain, you're not going to do anything, are you? You're not going to want to, like, oh, I'm going to go out, but it's going to rain, or I'm going to go out, but it's but. So it's almost taking that, just going with that flow.
yeah.
And
Get
and
the butt out of it. I think.
yeah.
What's it they say? Nice butt.
Nice butts. Yeah, nice butts. Yeah.
Nice butt. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
I'm going to do a couple of plugs now. And we're talking about more self
yeah,
care. First of all, we made friends over lockdown, and it was
we
when I
did.
was doing all those virtual parties, just
Mm.
basically broadcasting. We had people singing and dancing in their bedrooms and making the beds while I'm standing
I was
here,
making the bed.
DJ.
I used to always moan, oh, I've got to make the bed, I forgot.
I know I was terrible. I kept people up late all over lockdown. But we thought we'd have a bit of a reunion, so we're doing a virtual party tonight, actually, 8 o'clock UK
Oh, are
time.
you? Oh, I'll join.
Mixcloud.com
Yes,
/live/Longie. And I know you're a soul girl. I'm sure you've
I
got
am.
music tastes.
Yeah,
So we might play a bit of Keep on Dancing to the
yeah,
Funk.
lovely. Yeah,
Bit of
yeah.
Gary's gang. And humour is healing as well, because I do stand-up comedy. And
Jamaica
I've now got a
Funk. There you go. That's my request. Jamaica Funk.
Jamaica Funk. Tom
Yeah,
Brown, Funking for Jamaica.
yeah,
Funking for Jamaica, Tom
yeah,
Brown. Yeah.
yeah. I'll
No
give you the
problem.
story behind that in a minute. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back into the chat with that. But my comedy channel, it's biffinbrothers.com, and that's me and a friend called Matt Wild, who's a brilliant writer, and we just make funny songs. And I also have a little hobby of giving scammers a hard time and engineering
Mm,
karma for them. Basically just wasting their time and taking the piss, because they are trying to steal
mm.
from me. So I think it's fairly fair. So that's all on there, biffinbrothers.com. So if you like to like and follow that, it's not suitable for children. It's not suitable for your grandma. It's X-rated and it's very rude, but I think it's pretty funny.
So it won't be suitable for me then.
I'm afraid it'd be very suitable for you, Claire. Sorry about that. So, Funkin' for Jamaica, Tom Brown. Why that song? Why is that a big one for
It's a
you?
bit of a special song. I've always loved that song because, as you know, I love my soul and disco. I'm a bit of a disco
Quite
queen. I
right.
love my soul and funk and all that kind of. I grew up in that era, and
Mm.
you know, we had there was a lot of ska as well, and a lot of reggae, and
Oh
you know, all
yeah.
those kind of things. And but there's a personal, which I didn't know this until last year, that there's a personal reason behind that, and going back to this kind of goes back to kind of, you know, the therapy talk in a way that we lost a very dear friend of ours to breast cancer,
Oh,
and a few years ago, and Louisa Coles, and sadly, her husband, who is a very, very good friend of ours, lost his life last year
oh dear.
to suicide, and
Oh dear.
it was one of his favourite songs. So
Mm.
if it could be played, then it would just be really lovely to hear
I'll
it.
play that for you
Being one of
tonight.
my being one of my favourite songs, though, as
If
well.
you want to
So
email me a few song requests, I'll be very happy
yeah, yeah, we'll do. Yeah,
to
I'll be
entertain
on
you.
the
Actually,
show. Don't worry, I'll be tapping away.
excellent. Don't forget to share the link. I'll put it up again before.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's
definitely.
fun, isn't it? Because we're all on a timeline and we all chat to each other, so we're basically barracking each other across town. It's great fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Sometimes if I do NLP with people, if there's a particular song that means something, happened the other day with a friend. I was playing a song and she went like that, and that
Yeah, yeah,
that is a feeling, and that again, that's
yeah,
parasympathetic. So I just played
mm,
a load of her songs just to anchor her, because we learn by repetition, into that
yeah,
parasympathetic, into that parasympathetic.
yeah,
Not saying I can cure all, but I certainly can lead you in the direction of where cures are more likely to be allowed by you, shall we say.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And music is the
absolutely.
most wonderful healing force we have.
Yeah, and self-care again, but you know, music into self-care, isn't it?
Mm.
Is really important. And
Really, anything that makes you feel
mm,
good. You could say self
yeah,
care is anything that when you do it, you get a good feeling. I
yeah,
love DJing. I love doing comedy. It
yeah,
makes me feel good. I'm a terrible show off, but sod it. I
yeah,
enjoy it.
yeah. But that
I
doesn't
enjoy
matter,
it.
does it?
That's not really.
That's who you are. It's, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, and you introduced me to Carlos, didn't you?
Oh,
On
he was a comedy. He was a comedy character.
he was a
Um,
comedy character that you
Carlos was
made.
a comedy. I haven't done much with him since, but just to explain, because this is going to make me sound awful if I don't. Just throw that one in, Claire. Why don't you? Carlos is the kind of romantic man that you meet on holiday. He's done all the holiday romances. He just waits for the ladies to go over. He serenades with his guitar and then takes the ladies back to his room 404 every time. They always come back for more, baby. Always come back for more. You want more? You come back and see Carlos. Because you meet one of those on every holiday in a kind of Shirley Valentine kind of way, don't you? Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's great. I love Carlos. Yeah, I found a video. I think I sent it to you, didn't I? I found a
Oh, because
video.
when I was
Yeah,
drunk and doing Carlos at the virtual
Carlos.
parties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
it's not
yeah,
online, is it?
it's not
Probably.
online. Not yet. No.
Unfortunately, there's an awful lot online from that 4 years. And one of these days, when they get really famous, it'll be Neil. Did you actually dress in a mankini on a Friday night and play dance music anthems?
Oh
Yes, I did.
no. Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Neil. Were
yeah.
people really leaving blow-up dolls outside your house for a laugh during that 1 hour exercise we were allowed in lockdown? Yes, they were.
Yeah,
Um,
funny. It was good. It was good fun. It kept us entertained anyway, didn't it?
yeah,
Through lockdown. And that in a
absolutely.
way was our therapy, wasn't it? Because
In a
we
way,
all
it
met.
felt
We
good and
all
it
met
felt
each other,
fun, and
didn't we?
yeah, we supported each other, and
Yeah,
also knowing in something as unprecedented as a pandemic that
yeah.
you're not alone and there's other people you can call on. I mean, I even found comfort that there, because I know both my neighbours either side and we get on great. I
Mm,
wasn't actually talking to them much, but we were there, apart from clapping once a week for the NHS. But I knew they were there, so I
yeah,
knew there was good people within 4 meters of me
yeah,
either side,
yeah,
and they knew the same.
Yeah.
And so it's even little things like that, but lots of little things add up to big things, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's still the effects of COVID and isolation, and
Yeah,
it's
because they
still
said about a
coming now
backlash. Are
because
you finding a lot of this in your work? There's still a
yeah,
backlash.
yeah, there's still a backlash, and a lot of people's they're kind of isolating and finding that their social anxiety, that's the word I'm looking for. We're talking about so
Yeah.
many different things.
Mhm.
Social anxiety is a big thing, and people don't really, they're not really going out as much. They've kind of got used to staying in. There's a lot of problems with gaming. People don't want to go out, they're just gaming. Children are gaming. They don't want to go out with it because they're all gaming with their mates on
Do
the
you mean gaming or gambling or both?
gaming, as in
Gaming. Yeah.
computer games,
Yeah. Yeah.
PSPs and I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what the Xbox is. Is it Xbox? I couldn't even tell you. I'm
Well,
so out of date with it all. But all
there's
this
loads
stuff.
of them.
Yeah,
Again, gaming, in my understanding, the science says that actually playing video games can sharpen your reactions, so it's good to that point.
but
But
it
again,
isolates you.
it's too much. But too much of it, then you kind of get that overload, and then the brain starts shutting down because it's an overload, and it's finding that
Yeah.
balance. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with video games,
Mm,
but too much of anything is not good,
mm,
and certainly
mm.
not if it's isolating you. So, do you find yourself encouraging people to like go out more and do stuff like that?
Well, y- you can't. It's being non-directive, and
Mm,
it's about them learning where this isolation's come from, and what what it is that it's having confidence as well. Their lack of confidence. So
mm.
where they used to go and do things before, to go to groups or go to the gym or go to comedy clubs or just doing things on their own. Their lack of confidence has gone, so it's learning to find their confidence again.
Mm.
So is yeah.
Maybe it's nice to think it's never lost, just covered up a bit, understandably covered up,
Yeah.
and it's like
I-
digging for the treasure. It's digging through the
yeah.
pile of poo, thinking there must be a pony in here somewhere, if you like.
Yeah. And some, but and some people actually liked COVID. They kind of liked it that everybody, they knew where everybody was. They're isolated. They're indoors. They don't have to have the social anxiety of going out when their friends are asking them to go out because they don't particularly feel like going out.
Mm.
And they actually preferred staying in, and they still prefer staying in,
Which is fair enough, as
which
long
is
as it's
fair enough.
conducive. As long as it's conducive to your world, and you're doing it because it feels good to do it, not because you're frightened to do
Mm,
something else.
mm,
That's the
mm,
key, isn't it?
yeah.
Should we do some comments? Lovely Liz, my mental health suffered when mum died. I had and
Mm,
still have a great support network. Importantly, we're not afraid to talk, and with honesty, helpful and refreshing, because you need that in a support network. It's like Claire says, it's giving you that safe space to be able to say what you're really
mm,
feeling, to
mm.
have the permission to feel what you're feeling. All feelings are allowed. If you disallow any feeling, it's going to keep knocking, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's also that saying, isn't it? It's okay not to be okay.
Mm,
But I think as friends, it's important for us as friends, it's our responsibility to check, are you okay? And if you're
yeah.
not okay, that's okay, but be okay and you're not okay, if that
Have you
makes
seen the
sense.
Roman Kemp documentaries? He's the former presenter of
Yeah,
Breakfast. Aren't
yeah,
they good? I would
mm,
make that recommended viewing for anyone that's got an interest in any kind of mental
yeah,
health, and
yeah,
it's from a young man's point of view, because he's the son of Martin Kemp, Spandau Ballet,
yeah, yeah,
and Shirley is in Pepsi and Shirley.
yeah,
Remember them from the 80s, but very touching and really fantastically good documentaries. I really recommend
yeah.
that. When you were stuck by the side of a motorway, Neil, that
I
battery
was
was
going
dead.
to bring this up, so thank you, Facebook user, because when Neil says that he was forest bathing, we'll mention the motorway. Go on,
I
Neil.
wasn't really forest bathing. I was actually waiting for the salvation in the form of the RAC man to turn up. And when he did, he's like, "Great, where's your spare wheel?" I went, "It's
I
oh."
haven't got one.
So there was that, and then I started the car once he'd fixed the spare wheel and the battery was flat. But apart from that, I had a great day. Seriously, I remember my grandparents taking moments, cup of tea, sit in the garden, stare into the abyss, I don't think I like that phrase. I'd call it fire gazing personally. But have our generation forgotten how to do that? Yeah, we have. We're getting requests for the virtual party tonight. You make me feel mighty real. That's Sylvester.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I probably
absolutely.
shouldn't use
Join. It's
this
such
forum
good
to
fun.
take. Probably shouldn't use this forum to take requests because it is Russ's really. But if you'd like to hit me up on Facebook with requests tonight,
Yeah.
very happy to play them tonight. Music is great therapy. And Graham says, will you be playing any Beethoven or Mantovani tonight? Most likely not. And referring back to my comment about drinking and watching Pornhub, Graham put that up as well, and I'm just going to ignore that, Graham, because that's really not the level we're aiming for here, Graham. So I can only apologise for him, Claire. There's one in every room, isn't there?
Don't worry, I won't look.
I think you better not. Well, we've got some new comments coming in. Oh my goodness, we've got loads of good stuff coming in. Someone wants Bon Jovi. I think I know who that is. Facebook user Russ and Phil show kept us going through COVID as well. Personally, I love being on furlough, home with my daughter, knowing I wasn't missing out on not having to go out. Because that's it. There were good things about it. The weather was beautiful in 2020, wasn't it? And if you had a good family thing, I got to spend an awful lot more time with Ashley, my daughter, which was great.
Yeah.
Neil and Claire, Noel and who's Noel? Who's
Noel?
It's Neil. Noel and Claire, I wholeheartedly agree. Whatever's one perspective on COVID, it continues to play a significant role in the collective psyche of society. This is Asa. I don't mind you calling me Noel. I've been called worse, Asa. And he's right, because he's a professional like you, Claire, and you must see an awful lot of it, Asa. Asa, I love the COVID peace and safety. Interesting point of view that way around. Kimmy, I agree. I work from home and have 3 children by my side. I loved the experience. Yeah, I would hang out with my daughter and we do virtual parties and dance around the room that you're seeing me in now. So it wasn't that bit wasn't
she's
all
lovely,
bad.
Ashley. Yeah. Hi, Ashley. If you watch this, but hi.
Oh, wow, no,
Haven't
Ashley
seen her for a while.
No, I doubt Ashley will be watching this. She's busy discovering the secrets of the universe and stuff.
Good.
And getting married this year. Congratulations.
Is she? Oh,
Yeah, she is.
amazing.
Yeah, so I'm working on my Father's Day speech. Do you want to hear a bit of it?
Yeah.
All right, because
no, you can't say, can you? Because
no, that's fine. I'm banned from doing anything over 3 minutes long.
Okay.
I'm banned from anything that might she or her fiance or anyone in the room might find embarrassing, and I'm banned from being rude. So here's my speech in its entirety. You ready? Congratulations. That's it.
Yeah, but the bride looks beautiful today.
I know. I might embarrass her. I've got to be careful.
That won't be embarrassing.
Neil, oops, a typing mistake. I'll forgive you, Asa. I don't forgive you. I didn't judge you in the first place, so no forgiveness needed. Maybe it's Noel, says Graham. Congratulations, Ashley. Speech, oh God. No, actually, I'm looking forward to it. I have started writing it.
You'll be so
Claire,
proud. Yeah,
it's been a really great chat. We've gone around in wonderful circles. Let's first of all, if you'd like to sponsor you for your Marsden walk, give that a plug once again, if you will, please.
Thank you. So Marsden Walk is on the 12th of May, the Marsden March in May, and at Claire Francis _therapy on Instagram. And I just want to say that on my Instagram, there's two Instagrams, and there's the Counselling with Cancer Instagram and the Claire Francis _therapy. And I've got a lady who makes my posts for me, and she studied in psychology and social media. There's some really great posts on there with loads of information on mental health. There's, we've just had the Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. There's suicide prevention on there. There's so much stuff on there. So if you give us a like or a follow, just because it's free information for you. So
and it's a great resource as well.
Yeah.
Because I wish we lived in a world where these things didn't exist, but they do.
Yeah.
And if anything we can do to help people out the nightmare of domestic abuse or narcissistic abuse, which I've been reading a lot about recently as well.
Boundaries.
Which is pretty much the same. And there's a lot of that about as well.
It is. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. It's exactly the same.
No question. So if you'd like to come to the virtual party tonight, counsellingwithcancer.co.uk.
Yeah.
Virtual party, mixcloud.com/live/Longie. I won't take any more requests here because it's not really my place to do that. But if you'd like to hit me up on Facebook, Neil Long DJ, with your request, and we go live at 8 tonight. And if you want to subscribe to my comedy channel, biffrinbrothers.com. And if you want to get in touch with Claire, counsellingwithcancer.co.uk. Congratulations on your work as well. It's really great work that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
Claire Francis. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And, if anybody wants to talk to me, or there's any professionals that want to talk as well, I work from home, so, it's always nice to get trying to build a little bit of a network up
It's
with
not
various
unknown that
different
Dr.
professionals
Asa
as
will get in
well.
touch with people, because we talk to a lot of professionals like yourself on this show, and I know
Yeah.
Dr. Asa likes, like you do, keeps himself up to date, and I know he likes
Yeah.
to reach out. So you may be hearing from an American dude later on.
Oh, I'd love that. All right then, Neil. Well, I guess I will see you. Will I see you tonight at 8 o'clock
Yep,
on the live?
indeed. You'd be very welcome to. I hope to see you all there as well. Claire
Yeah.
Francis, thank you so much for being on. Lots of love. Take care.
And you take care. Bye.
What a show. What a girl. counsellingwithcancer.co.uk. There's the link for the virtual party tonight if you want to be there. And we'll practice a bit of self-care by listening to some damn good music. Russ and Phil are back on Friday with the Queen of Screen, Chantal, and a myriad of wonderful others, because Russ's little black book is pretty impressive and he puts on a damn good show. That's on Friday on the Midday Show. I'll be back on Monday with Russ, and next Wednesday by myself again. See you tonight at the virtual party, hopefully. For now, love you, hug you, squeeze you. Take care. Good afternoon. Bye-bye.